At the beginning of the 2014 school year, I was approached by a Nova Scotia Community College teacher by the name of Catherine McKinnon. Catherine and her colleague Melissa Randall invited me to witness as their adult learning program students shared their life story. What does your life story mean to you? Is it something you hide inside? Is it something you're afraid of? What if you had an opportunity to share your life story with the world? This project, Fearless Faces, attempts to do just that. Look into the camera. Give us your meanest look. Let me see. Give me a mean look. Let me see. What does that look like? And he smiles. That's great, though. That's great. No, that's good.
My name's Paul Matthew Bundy. I was born December 15th, 1988. I guess I would call my story, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." My earliest memories would be dealing with death at like a young age. When I was about 8 or 9, I lost a close cousin, and I was right there when it happened. He was hit by an oil truck. I lost another friend. Her name was Relika Downey. We were friends ever since, I'd say grade 3. We would talk and talk and talk in class and get in trouble and continue to talk. She was one of those people who couldn't sit still. I heard that she had a liver disease and she passed away shortly after, so I didn't get to see her, so we didn't see each other that much. Started dating this other girl I knew from a summer camp. We dated for 2 years maybe, and then we got married 2009. She gave birth to our kid, our daughter, a month after we got married. And marriage ended. Now our daughter lives with me. But I've been in ALP for actually longer than I'd like to. I was hoping to finish this year, but doesn't look like it with math. I guess I would call my story, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger."
My name is Josie. I'm 19, and the name of my story is "I Was Meant to Be Here." Before I was even born, my mom flipped her car into a ditch, and she was pregnant with me, but I was obviously unharmed. I moved in with my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin in North End, Halifax. Even though my mom lived there, she was either at work or she was at home. I never really saw her. And then I moved in with my grandparents. I fought with my grandmother for 2 years before it wasn't getting us anywhere. I started junior high and I started getting bullied. And I started to feel the way they treated me. Things they said to me, I felt like I was. And so I started hurting myself. I met a guy. He was alright for the first little while, and then he became violent and abusive, and so I left him. I met Josie, and we spent every day together. I told him I was moving at the end of the year, which I didn't really want to leave him there, but I wanted to live with my mom for so long. I was a little bit torn between the two, so I went and moved in with her. I didn't see him for 2 years. And I met Josie again in October 2013. We're still together now. And I started ALP, and I'm graduating. And I'm going back to the waterfront campus in September. First I'm going to applied media, and then I'm going to do graphic design. My name is Josie Mider, and my story is I was meant to be here.
Hi, my name is Rick Sonis. I'm 49 years old, and the title of my story is The Ties That Bind. I learned very early on in my life, at the age of 3, when my parents divorced, the value of relationships. Grew up without my dad in my life, and it really affected a lot of the decisions I made. I ended up everything from changing schools to changing courses, getting involved with the wrong people because of a need to feel accepted, a need to feel belonging to something. My daughter was born in 1994, and having my first child completely changed my life. And everything I did, everything I thought, everything I felt was really for her. I made a lot of decisions for my children based on my lack of relationship with my father. My father was never around. My father really never supported my mother and I. She had to work a lot. My family, my kids, are the ties that bound me to being here in Nova Scotia, being here for my family, sticking it out, and probably made me a much stronger person as a result of it. That's why I'm in this project, the ALP program at NSCC, because I need to continue to improve who I am, what I can contribute to society. Both my kids are grown up now. Now I can start to look at the type of things that I wanted to do for my life, knowing that I have given the best that I can for my family.
Hi, my name is Caitlin McDonald. Everybody calls me Big Mama. I was born in 1989. The name of my story is The Bright Shadow. When I was 11 years old, I fell off my bicycle and I had a severe brain injury, which caused me to be in the hospital for 3 months. I damaged my skull, I had a skull fracture and a severe brain injury, which caused fluid around my brain. So once I got out of the hospital, as I seemed to be when my life changed, my parents started treating me differently. Like they said I'd be mad all the time and I couldn't control my anger. When I was 15, I was just about 16, I moved in with this man who was 12 years older than I. And I moved in with him and I thought I could go to school and manage my life as well and continue on. So I dropped out of school in 2007, and then that year I found out I was pregnant. I still haven't talked to my parents at all. because every time I tried to talk to them, they would call me a slut and say I should be more like my sisters and go to school, get an education, because that's all you need to do in life. You don't need to do anything else. That's what you need to do. So I found out I was pregnant when I was 17, and it was a really emotional time for me because I didn't have anybody but my boyfriend at the time. So in that year, in 2008, she was born. Best thing ever in my whole entire life. I was so happy. And then there was a knock on the hospital door, and it was a nurse, and she said, your parents are here to see you. And I said, no, I don't want to see them right now. And then I started being really emotional and crying and stuff, so, because I haven't seen them in 2 years. So that was fine. And then I started thinking about a couple months later that, it's not really my daughter's fault that we had this, competition and stuff like that. So I decided to invite them over to my house and try to make ends meet. But they only wanted to come around when it was convenient for them and when my boyfriend wasn't there. A couple months later, I found out I was expecting my son. So they're 11 months apart. He was born in 2009. Best moment, again, in my life. So then me and my boyfriend got engaged, and we were married in 2012. 2014, I was still working at Tim's, and I said one day, I just had a bad day at work, and I said, I'm going to go back to school. And I'm not going to go back to school for my parents, I'm going to go back to school for my children. I'm going to show them that their mother can do anything that they want to do. I want to make them happy and myself happy, not my parents ever. So I went back to school, and here I am. I'm graduating with honors this year, and I'm going on to be a CCA in September of 2015. And yes, I'm still happily married, and I have 2 beautiful children and a beautiful family. The name of my story is The Bright Shadow.
The name of my story is Transformation. I'm going to have to read this because 1959 was the last time I was in school, and that's a long time. My dad, who was born in Cleveland, Georgia, and he decided to become a Canadian citizen, and he married my mother in 1940. He joined the Army in World War II as a non-combatant, and he became a meteorologist and a photographer. We had to move from Brandon, Manitoba to Ottawa, Ontario. My dad acquired a farm outside the city of Ottawa, about 25 miles west of it. I didn't have any relatives, no brothers, no sisters, nobody around. And I never bonded with my mother because she was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And my dad was too busy trying to make a living. So I spent most of my time playing on my own. My dad did the best he could to look after me. And my mother was institutionalized in Brockville, so I had to survive on my own. And my time in school wasn't pleasant, and I never got to be friends with anybody. I attended many different schools, such as a private school in Toronto, which he couldn't afford, several public schools. Eventually, I ended up going to high school in Ottawa. I started going out with this boy, and I got pregnant at 16, had my first child at 17, and it's been downhill ever since until I met my husband. He died about a year ago on April the 10th, and he transformed my life. He was the one that really changed my whole existence from what I had been and to what I am today. We spent 23 years together, and so when he passed away, I was by myself and I was alone. And I wanted to go back to work, and I said, well, to go back to work, I was told I needed a grade 12. So I need my grade 12. So I said, okay, you go for it. And they signed me up for the adult learning program at Akerley Campus. So from September of 2014 till today, I am going to be graduating. And I've learned a lot from my students, the students that have been with me, a lot from the teachers, and a lot from Sobaz, and it's been a positive experience. It's been an enlightening experience, a transforming experience. So I guess transforming is probably the best thing that I could probably put a name on my existence itself. So I am transformed.
So my name is Omar. I am 36 years old. I come from an island called Puerto Rico. And the title of my story is Imported Goods, because that's what my wife calls me. Not much I remember about my childhood, except my mother getting involved with a guy that got her into using drugs. My grandmother taking me away from her. Later she stopped using drugs and she became a newborn Christian. During my teenage years, I remember being bullied at school because of my weight. I remember living with my dad, who is an alcoholic, and having to endure his, alcoholic rage. He also beat his wife right in front of me. I didn't finish high school because I found it very boring. I missed a lot of classes because I wasn't engaged, or I didn't feel any, motivation. Right after I finished school, I just started working and worked for 6 years on different jobs. During that time, I got myself a computer, and I started chatting online with different people, and that's where I met my wife. We talked for like 3 years. We got to know each other and became friends. Later, I got the opportunity to come to Canada, to Nova Scotia, to be with her, and we got married. We've been married for almost 9 years now. Here I got a social anxiety disorder, so that kept me out of work. And I got therapy, and once I started getting better, I decided that I wanted to continue my education, and then that's how I found myself on ALP. I started on February 2014, and I'm graduating this year. Hopefully I'm starting in the IT campus next year, taking information technology. So that's it. The title of my story is Imported Goods.
The name of my story is Conquest. My first memory would be taking what I assumed was a long car ride to Alberta. It was me and my older sister. We thought it was really fun, like, oh, road trip, it's really cool. And so we drove all the way to Alberta. That took a long time, you can imagine, with 2 children. And we got there and we stayed for a couple years, and eventually we worked our way back down to Ontario. At that time my parents did split,
It wasn't until later on that I had figured out the reason that we had went to Alberta was because my parents claimed bankruptcy, so we up and moved. My dad disappeared when I was about 10. Again, we think that he probably is out in Alberta, currently somewhere. So I lived with my mom until I was about 16. She just wasn't fit to be a parent at the time. It was hard. She had 2 young girls, so it wasn't the best time as a teenager growing up. We didn't have much money. We were constantly moving. So eventually, when I was 16, I just decided that I didn't want to live the way we were living. I just wasn't happy, so I just left, and I ended up dropping out of school, out of high school, because I had to support myself. That was something that I kind of always regretted, but looking back, I don't know if I really had any other options. I don't know what would have happened if I continued down the path I was. And it wasn't until like my late teens when a close friend of mine committed suicide that I decided that I needed to get myself out of the situation that I was in. And I decided to start kind of investing myself in my job, and I just worked retail, and I ended up working my way up to a manager. And that took about 4 or 5 years. I was never really happy doing it though. So eventually I decided that I needed to go back to school. It was always that was burdening me, and I always felt I was so ashamed to tell people that I never got my high school. I eventually decided that I just wanted to up and move. I had broke up with my boyfriend who was with for about 4 or 5 years, and it was pretty devastating. So I decided that I just needed change, and my sister was living out here, and she had my nephew Miles. She's amazing, he's about 1.5, and that was my first niece, nephew, anything like that. And so when I came down here, definitely redefined my definition of family. I was shown what a real mother was like. My sister's an amazing mother, and what real family was. That was a big thing for me, and he's honestly one of the most important things in my life. He's amazing, he's so cute, he's a little ginger too. And yeah, and then I came here, did ALP. That was really a big eye-opening experience for me. I learned a lot about myself, and it's been challenging because again, I live with my sister, but I still have to pay my way, and so it's been hard kind of working and doing school at the same time, but I've kind of pushed myself in ways that I never thought I would and would never probably do again, but I'm here and hopefully I can graduate, and I want to go into nursing. That's pretty much it. And the name of my story is Conquest.
My name is Virginia Roberts, and the name of my story is Onward Traveling. I've grown up in Dartmouth pretty much my whole life. Single mom. I'd say my first memory, I was about 3 or 4 years old. I was in Shuby Park feeding the ducks. Now I was feeding them bread, but when I ran out of the bread, they became angry with me. They flapped their wings around and then one bit me. Growing up, I always felt very odd one out. Didn't feel like I fit in very well. Don't feel like that so much anymore. Doesn't bother me as much. I feel like I grew out of that just over a year ago, I'd say. I became really depressed, I guess, somewhere in junior high. I don't really know when. I got a lot of anxiety. I don't know, I got bullied, got picked on a lot, sensitive with a name kind of similar to vagina, so I guess that caused a lot. And then stuff used to happen after that. I spent a lot of time at home. I didn't go out much. I stopped really making effort to do anything. I spent quite a few years like that, most of high school really. Wouldn't really talk when I'd go, and just keep to myself. Eventually I decided I didn't want that anymore. I decided I had to push myself. I had to move forward, really get out of that. Very hard. I'm still very anxious. I don't think I'm ever going to get over that. I didn't really have anyone behind me saying, you can do this. And I did. And I guess that's really what pushed me, which sounds bad to say, but I guess I just needed that little bit of reassurance from somebody. Yeah, so then I came here and I'm going to school, getting my high school education. I still am very anxious, and I still feel the depression and stuff in waves, not necessarily a constant feeling, overwhelming feeling. I don't know, I feel like in the past, honestly, since I started this program, I feel like I've grown a lot, and I don't know. I'm getting nervous right now and really anxious, but overall I don't feel it as much anymore. I feel like a lot of people here have helped me with that as well, so
My name is Jodell born and raised in Halifax. I just say my story is my story. It's just life in a box. I was always a vibrant boy. Got put in group homes and foster care. Started hanging with wrong crowds. Kind of got took under their wing, I guess, more or less. And you know, adapted that way of life. I was trying to find who I was. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me, and wasn't seeing that it was kind of diminishing. Everything around me was kind of fading away. The process of change is a long one. Very long, actually. It all depends on the individual, though, you know? Some can change quicker than others. You could change 3 ways, but, you know, you could come across that 5th way and it could set you all back to them 3 ways that you changed, right? So, I mean, it's a struggle. It's constantly a war, right? Within change is possible. It depends on how bad you want to change. And what are you going to do at what cost to make that change. I came to ALP last semester. I don't know, I came here originally. I was on parole. I was there for 2 days, and then I got a Canada-wide warrant, and they got me out of school. So a year and something later, I'm back here at ALP, progressing forward. Got my grade 11, trying to get my grade 12. What keeps me coming into school and stuff is vibrant teachers. And just, I don't know, just the few people that I actually connected with, you know. We all can get lost. It's easy to get lost, you know, especially we don't got no activities to do so. We get, you know, sucked into the same routines or maybe the routines of our peers. And however, that gives you opportunity. ALP gave me opportunity anyway to break out of my little recession I was in and to meet new people. Positive people. My name is Jodell born and raised in Halifax. I just say my story is my story. It's just life in a box.
My story, I've named it Change of Wings. Because for me, I was married for 15 years, almost 16 years. I had 2 beautiful children. My son was diagnosed with leukemia when he was 2.5. We did 3.5 years going back and forth with him. My daughter is older than him. So it was hard to kind of spend time with both because you had to, you know, you couldn't, obviously I couldn't be a clone and be in one place and another place at the same time. So I've been I raised them, and then my marriage dissolved. I was 4 years of going back and forth with the lawyers to get things settled. It's been extremely hard. I've just finished my divorce. I feel that everything has changed for me, change as relationships for my children, because obviously they're not with me. I wanted to change my career, so I actually looked into going back to school. And then I actually got in touch through finding of different places that I got involved with the ALP program. I was offered full-time just recently with my work, which was weird. So I accepted it, but I'm not sure if it's really what I want to do. But yeah, it's been an extreme hard journey and a long journey. All kinds of change. Dating after being married for so long is not a piece of cake. People are not always what they seem to be. Yeah, so that's my story.